Folks, welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your Wednesday episode, and I am your pal, Ryan. How the heck are you doing? You've made it halfway through the week. We've got an easy show for you today. We have from Love Island USA and the most recent Love Island Games, Josh Goldstein. Even if you don't watch Love Island, I think this is a really interesting interview, and it makes me appreciate, once again, reality competition series. I think there is a great pocket of reality TV that is just competition series like this, and Dancing with the Stars, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But we have him here today. We'll do some news stories. We'll talk Dancing with the Stars, and then we'll get to Josh, and we'll call it a day. And then we got Salt Lake City coming up. We got OC coming up. Hopefully OC gives us a good episode. Who knows? So tonight, you guys, I'm doing this really late, because Rebecca and I went and saw a concert. We went to one of my favorite bands, Rilo Kiley, this great alternative band. They broke up for like 17 or 18 years, and they just got back together this year. I think it's just like a reunion tour. I don't know if they're going to keep going past this. And I got to see them at a music festival earlier in the summer, Just Like Heaven in Pasadena. And then they were at the Greek, and I was like, we got to go. And so we went and saw, and then Waxahachie opened up for them. And that's another great band led by this amazing female vocalist. But what an amazing night of music. And we were we were pretty close. It was just really, really magical. I know just there's something about music, right? That just, if you love it, you love it. So very excited. I will say one funny story about tonight. Rebecca went to the bathroom, and I was waiting for her, and I was just kind of staring into space. It was like in between acts. And this girl comes up to me and goes, "Congratulations." And I had no clue. I was like, huh? She's like, "Congrats." And then I was like, "Is this a what? Congrats." And I was like, "Congrats for what?" And she's like, "All the good stuff that's happening to you." And I was like, "Oh." And then it was a listener of the podcast. And it was like the baby and stuff like that. But if you don't expect to be come up to, and then then it's like a stranger you've never met before, and they just say congratulations, like it's like some cryptid code. I was like, there was like a spy coming up to me or something. But it was this really great moment once I realized this person knew me for the podcast. But that just blew my mind. Anyways, we had this magical night of music, and then we get home, and this is past Rebecca's bedtime, especially pregnant. And we were just having such a good time. We were laughing. And so we decided to watch Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, Dancing with the Stars. And it turned out to be one of the most, I don't know what's happening to me, folks. I've never really been this into Dancing with the Stars. I don't know what it is, but it was so emotional tonight. It was dedication night for all these contestants. And so it was like dedicated to these people that changed the dancing contestant's life. And, sometimes I don't get caught up in the cheese, and then sometimes I fall head first into it. And tonight was one of those nights. Rebecca was fully crying. I was like tearing up multiple times. I thought I was just going to watch 20 minutes of it and then come start working on the podcast. And then we got so into it. And we even commented so much during the show of like, I didn't plan on ever being this into Dancing with the Stars. I was like, is this a thing we're doing? Like, are we going to be watching Dancing with the Stars from here on out? Like, did we just add a new show to our roster? Now, if you watch a lot of TV like I do, that's a big deal. I can do seasons here and there of certain shows, aside from Bravo, but I'm very picky about what I choose to let into these eyes and ears. And I think we both love it. It's great to love something. Anyways, we'll go over the contestants in a second, but let's get to some other news first. So let's start with some sad news, unfortunately, and this is kind of music inspired, and that's what I spent my night appreciating. We lost a musical giant today. D'Angelo, the Grammy-winning R&B singer, passed away from pancreatic cancer, TMZ first reported. He died Tuesday morning in New York City. D'Angelo had not been public about his cancer battle, and had been in treatment for several months. Now, if you don't know D'Angelo, do yourself a favor and listen to the 2001 album Voodoo. It's one of the best R&B albums of all time. Tragically, their son, they have a son, him and his ex Angie Stone, who tragically passed away this year as well. So that is a lot for their son to take in. It's very, very sad. So keep that in your prayers and thoughts for D'Angelo and his family. Okay, let's shake the blues off. Let's go to a ridiculous story. Hopefully this will bring a smile back for you, or maybe you'll just be completely grossed out like I was. People magazine reports Kim Kardashian launches Skims thong underwear with faux pubic hair, and fans are freaking out. Yes, you heard all of those words coming out of my mouth. Yes, Kim Kardashian today launched the faux hair micro string thong. You guys, this isn't like an April Fool's joke. This is what it says. It says a mix of curly and straight faux hair in 12 different shade variations. This is per the Skims website. What? Kim Kardashian is literally, guys, I'm not making this up. You gotta go. If you haven't seen the picture of this, it is insane. It's like you have, oh my God, you guys, and she is charging $32 for this. It's quoted on the Skims website as saying the most daring panty yet. Yes. Because nobody would dare to ever think that anybody would give a shit about this. Are you out of Kim Kardashian? You need to be arrested. I'm making a citizen's arrest the next time I see you, because this is insane. Nobody asked for this. Is everything okay at home? What is going on, Kim? Please. And then Kylie Jenner, you guys. Kylie Jenner released her single today, or on Tuesday. We talked about this on the Pop Culture Roundup on Monday, and it literally is like, oh, AI is so dangerous. There is so much auto-tune, and I'm just assuming AI all over this thing. And, you want Kylie to have a win, even though Sophie makes fun of me for that, because I'm like, who cares? They're a billionaire. They don't need Ryan to want them to have a win, or any of us for that matter. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe they need to start caring what us common folk think. It's like, this is ridiculous. Kim's selling a pubic hair panty. Come on. Are you kidding me? They should sell this shit at Spencer's Gifts. Anyways, this is very real, and I'm sure it's probably sold out already. Who knows? The brand announced the drop on Instagram with a campaign video parodying 1970s game show. Just dropped the ultimate bush, the caption reads. With our daring new faux hair panty, your carpet can be whatever color you want it to be. Oh my God. Just make it stop. Make it stop. Okay, let's go to somebody that would probably never sell a faux pubic panty. That's Dr. Wendy Asefo. She'll do a lot of other things, allegedly, but not that. Now, new news in the Dr. Wendy and Eddie arrest in their case. There was a rumor going around on Tuesday that she was still, I guess, teaching courses at colleges at Wesleyan University. And there was a rumor going around today that she was let go of those positions as a distinguished visiting professor. And so people passed around that she had been let go. And then in a statement to People magazine later that afternoon, this Tuesday, a spokesperson clarified that Asefo was not fired. Contrary to recent media reports, Dr. Wendy Asefo was not terminated from a faculty position at Wesleyan University. She formally submitted her letter of resignation prior to any public announcement made by the university. Dr. Asefo made the voluntary decision to step down from her role. This decision was made independently and communicated directly to the university before any external reports surfaced. Wesleyan University confirmed Asefo's resignation, telling People, Wendy Asefo is no longer an employee of Wesleyan University. She resigned from her position. So both of them making it clear that this is Dr. Wendy's choice. Do we believe that? I mean, the university backed her up, so I tend to believe that. But this is a consequence of what allegedly was done. I don't work in the academic world at all, so I don't know if this is just par for course. If something like this happens, you are expected to resign. But this is, kind of one of the sad effects of this situation. Now they did pick back up cameras. And it'll be very interesting to start hearing leaks from that footage. And I'm guessing they will jam that into the season finale, which I thought was already going to be just Karen Huger, because we started this season with her and I thought we would finish with actually seeing her face after she left prison and have like one or two Karen scenes. But now it looks like they have to pick up cameras again. So who knows how this is going to go, but you got to comment on this before we get to the reunion, I would imagine. So yeah, Dr. Wendy no longer has her professor job. Do you think Eddie has to then retire from cannabis? Like, has he embarrassed and shamed the cannabis community at all? I'm joking, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Does the cannabis community, like, is this disrespectful to them in any? No way. And we had a lot of breakups this Tuesday. Here is one. Do you guys remember Olivia Flowers from Southern Charm? She was on that one season or a couple seasons, and the whole Austin scenario date, because they used to date. Well, she got off the show and then she got engaged to this gentleman, Alex Williams. And I do see Olivia a lot on Instagram, and I think she was trying to make that road as like an influencer. But she was engaged and we were weeks away from the marriage. And this is the People headline article. Olivia Flowers ends engagement with Alex Williams, quote, not a decision made lightly. She's only 33 years old, but they've called off their wedding. After much thought and many heartfelt conversations, Olivia and her fiancé Alex have made the difficult decision not to move forward with their wedding. Flowers representative from Cabine Creative tells People in a statement, this was not a decision made lightly, but one grounded in deep mutual respect and love for one another. The statement continues, while this isn't the path they originally envisioned, they are profoundly grateful for the love and support of their friends and family. Alex and Olivia remain committed to each other with a renewed sense of clarity, strength, and appreciation for honoring one's heart. She is very appreciative of your grace and kindness as they move through this transition transition together. Okay. Yeah. I like they have a PR company. It's so weird. The Instagram post was a collab post with Olivia and Cabine Creative, which is like her PR agency. I didn't know she needed like a PR agency. Like, that's wild. I don't know these people I know Olivia, but I don't know the gentleman. And they had that full statement. But I mean, they were weeks away from the wedding. So that is obviously very sad. Will we ever see a return for her to Southern Charm? I don't know. I'm very curious if she regrets leaving or if she just wasn't asked back. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, very sad. So she called it off. And then on top of that, this is a little Next Gen NYC for all fans out there. Ariana Bierman broke up with her dude. Hudson, I love that I'm like waiting for you guys know Hudson McElroy. He was on this season of Next Gen NYC, and they have been long-term boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're high school sweethearts. They've broken up after nearly a decade together. She took to her Instagram stories to share. God, Olivia had a full fucking Instagram post, and then Ariana puts her in an Instagram story, not even a grid post. But it was just a short message. She wrote, Hudson and I have decided to go our separate ways. While these things are never easy, we both know it's what's best for us right now. We are so grateful for all the love and support you've shown us over the years. Sometimes life takes you in different directions, and that's okay. Love you all. You don't need it. It's okay. We love you all. Wow. That's wild, because I think they're going to announce the second season of Next Gen at BravoCon. I think at their Sunday panel, or if not before, but I thought he was going to be in that second season. So we're going to have a season of her dealing with this breakup after so long with this dude. And also this dude was well off. And remember that with her mom this season going on. Oh my God. I wonder if Kim has put out any sort of statement at all, because she used to do those like clickbait posts where it would be like, Bravo star dead, click here to find out who, and then you would open it and it would be like the parent, that like the second, third grandfather of somebody that had been on a reality show. It was so weird. Hey folks, we are here to talk about our friends at Quince once again. If you can see me right now, I'm wearing a beautiful navy sports jacket that I did get from Quince. And don't worry, I am prepping for my BravoCon trip in November. I just purchased a beautiful leather jacket from Quince, but they don't just have clothes. Remember, they have bedding, bath, cookware, travel accessories, the whole nine. So, as the weather cools, you know we're all swapping pieces that actually get the job done, warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince, they deliver every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Now, Quince has all kinds of fall staples you'll actually want to wear on repeat, like your boy Ryan, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60, classic fit denim, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. Now, I've got my eye on this suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and just looks really casual, but put together. And you can go to their website and they'll show you all of these things and how they look. Now, how do they do this? They partner directly with ethical factories and top artisans. Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. So, layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/sobad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. So that is QUINCE.com/sobad. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sobad. Do you guys remember that? A couple of housewives have done that over the years. I think Vicki Gunvalson used to do that as well. But anyways, they are broken up. Who knows if they will stay broken up, but I'm sure we will learn all about this on season 2 of Next Gen NYC. Okay, and to some wild news. You remember Kevin Federline, K-Fed, Britney's ex-husband, who she had the 2 sons with? Well, he has a new book coming out, a memoir called You Thought You Knew. And there was no thought in my mind. I did not need to read this at all, but we can read the pull quotes that are being pulled for articles like this one from the New York Times. This is some of what he says in the book. Says the Britney situation is racing towards something irreversible. Kevin alleges that his songs claimed that Britney sometimes watched them sleep with a knife in her hand. He writes, "It's become impossible to pretend everything's okay. From where I sit, the clock is ticking and we're getting close to the 11th hour. Something bad is going to happen if things don't change, and my biggest fear is that our sons will be left holding the pieces." Federline says he has not spoken to Britney in years and says the Free Britney movement was not a good one. All those people who put so much effort into that should now put the same energy into the Save Britney movement. Because this is no longer about freedom, it's about survival, he adds. No more than ever, our children need your support. I've been their buffer for years, but now it's bigger than me. It's time to sound the alarm. Wow. And then on Entertainment Tonight, he sat down with them. He told Entertainment Tonight, "I'm really worried. I'm absolutely, as a father, terrified that one day I might wake up and my sons are going to have to deal with the unimaginable. I kind of have to sound the alarm. I just wish that their mom would get help." He added, "What's going on now?" And I'm not going to get into details. I'm not just going to expose her personal life, but it's 10 times worse than anything I've said in my book. Kevin also told ET that the night before their wedding that he was shocked when he caught her on the phone chatting with ex Justin Timberlake, making sure that everything was done between them. Britney's reps issued a statement today saying, with news from Kevin's book breaking, once again, he and others are profiting off her, and sadly, it comes after child support has ended with Kevin. All she cares about are her kids, Sean Preston and Jaden James, and their well-being during this sensationalism. She detailed her journey in her memoir, The Woman in Me. So that is a lot of intense information. And, there is that aspect of this guy is a gold digger in some ways, or has always kind of been portrayed as such. And, his life, I think, was taking, he watched those boys, right? Um, but it's very interesting what he says about the Free Britney movement. He is trying to push a book, you know, you try to put that thing, he was probably going to say he had an affair with Brock, maybe in a final chapter or something, but you are trying to sell a book. And I guess it's just, how serious do you take Kevin Federline? But it's wild. It's like a form of reality television when you get a peek behind the curtain, or the blowback of somebody's anger at you. Um, it'll be interesting. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Yeah, it's a very sad story. Okay, let's get to some silly fun with a Dancing with the Stars recap. There's some magic about it for me now. I don't know what's wrong with me. But the glitz, the glamour, the big music, everything. Julianne Hough, one of the co-hosts, walked out with Alfonso Ribeira at the very beginning, and she almost kind of tripped, and then she corrected herself, and she had this big presenter smile, and I was just like, you can't teach that in school. Julianne Hough needs to be studied. Like, is she a real person? Like, I wonder what she is like in real life, because she's just such like a pro. And I'm just curious how she is as a human, if that makes sense. So we started off our night, and this was dedication night. Andy Richter, who was turned into a fan favorite, you can't help but love him. He was dedicating his salsa number. He danced to Jump in the Line by Harry Belafonte, popularized, I guess, most recently, even though it's now like 25 years ago, the movie Beetlejuice with Michael Keaton. He dedicated this to his daughter, Cornelia. And the comedian explained that, he has 2 adult children, but then when he met his current wife, single mom Jennifer Herrera, he quickly adopted Cornelia as his daughter, and says this dance tonight was absolutely the highlight of my time here, he said. And this little girl, you guys, Cornelia, is a little girl. I think seems like 4 or 5 years old, and she had so much personality. This little kid was a star, and it was like this beautiful thing. And that's what I think this show we were kind of talking about does. It shows humanity, and yes, there's stars and all of this stuff, but you see you get to hear so many different stories. But at the same time, I usually don't get suckered in by that. And this, I'm fully suckered, if that makes sense. I'm fully like sitting there invested. They got a combined score of 24 out of 40. And it was really nice. I mean, at the first I was like, oh, this is the best. And then we had the next, and that got even better. And so it was a lot of that, but it was a beautiful moment. Our second dance of the night was Robert Irwin, Steve Irwin's son, who died when Robert was 2 years old, right? And he called his mom. He dedicated this to his mom, Terry Irwin, his absolute hero. And this was the lady that raised him after, his dad passed away. And he only has very few memories of his dad. And so we get to see their rehearsals where he broke down crying, his dance partner broke down crying, and he said, I've never been able to capture the feeling of gratitude that I feel for my mom, and at every milestone, I just wish that my dad was there. She was there, and that was enough. And God, they danced to You'll Be in My Heart by Phil Collins. I think, isn't that from the Tarzan soundtrack? Didn't the Tarzan soundtrack just go so hard, unbelievably hard? I love Phil Collins so much. But his mother made an appearance in the dance. And Bruno was like, he's looking at your kid and he's smiling. I don't know why I just made him a pirate there. But he's just, big. But he was blown away. Derek Huff was fighting back tears, the other judge. And he said, you've become such an amazing man. The world needs the Irwin family. And I was like, I've never really thought about needing the Irwin family until this season. And now I'm like, well, maybe we do need the Irwin family. It was so good. They got 35 out of 40. So high scores over there. Cried during that one. And then we had to start, hey, it's a little fun. Let's have a little fun. And this was, sorry. I'm laughing to myself how into this I've become. I just didn't think I would look forward to a show like this. I've said it now 30 times during this podcast, but it just, you got to understand, it just befuddles me. We had Elaine Hendricks, who's been amazing so far. Obviously, we know her from The Parent Trap, but even Rebecca said she's like, how many times this season are we going to hear about The Parent Trap? Elaine's done other stuff, but she had her co-stars Dennis Quaid and Lisa Ann Walter. That was a shock to see Dennis Quaid in the audience. Obviously, those are both from the movie The Parent Trap. And Lisa Ann Walter in particular, who is on Abbott Elementary now on ABC, but she calls Lisa Ann Walter her bestie, and they had such a tight relationship where Lisa Ann Walter was like, husbands, they don't stay around, but this friendship will last until the end of time. It was like that kind of vibe. And Lisa Ann didn't want to screw it up for the guys, but she was great. You see the personality, like you see what makes an actor that even if they're not a dancer, they can make it work. They danced the foxtrot to This Will Be an Everlasting Love by Natalie Cole, which was the song from The Parent Trap. It was great. There was like kind of this Ginger Rogers energy, Bruno said, but it looked like they were having a lot of fun. It was great after like back-to-back crying over contestants. This got a total combined score of 30 out of 40. And then, you guys, we go to Whitney Levitt from Secret Wives of Mormon Wives, and she dedicated her dance to her husband, Connor. Now, if you watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, that relationship has been through a lot. And if I'm not mistaken, Connor, I think admittedly, he's gone through a lot of things, but I think he was on some dating apps a long time ago, and I believe this was in the show, but one of them was Grindr. So I think I don't want to, but I think he's bisexual in a sense, but like obviously loves Whitney, is with Whitney, if I'm remembering the story correctly. If not, that's wild that I just made that up. No, I think I remembered that correctly. But Whitney praised her husband for giving up his job to move to LA with their children for her to compete on the show. He takes care of the children. So there was like all those clips about that. And her partner, Mark Ballas, the dancer, explained he's playing the role of fame in their contemporary dance because all these dancers were supposed to tell stories, right? And he was depicting something trying to keep Whitney and Connor apart. So like it was symbolism, right? That he was representing the symbolic thing, this role of fame, keeping these two lovers apart, Whitney and Connor, right? The trio danced to Heal by Jamal Roberts. And it was another wowing thing. It was a slower dance. It was a more artistic dance like Robert Irwin's, a lot of just body movement and not, the dancing that I think a lot of people, think of as dancing. This was like artistic body movement. And I will say the one thing was that I was like, they're telling a story. And I was like, is the story that he's into this guy and he's into his wife, Whitney? Because that's it. I mean, I'm not trying to be, but that was the thing. And it was like representative of something. This was I was like, this is really intense. I don't know if I can't be the only one that read into it like that, right? Derek Huff said, dancing is so healing before saying Connor, Whitney's husband, is a dancer. Derek pointed out one mistake, but praised Whitney's performance. And Carrie Ann broke down in tears. Carrie Ann Inaba, I worry about her sometimes. I'm like, is she mentally good? A lot of emotions from Carrie Ann. But that's the thing about the show too. You kind of appreciate the vibe of the judges as you keep. Anywho, she broke down into tears saying, you bring me to a place of emotion that's hard to put into words, and it's why some of us became dancers for a way to cope with emotions. I was like, what? And then that blew me away. I was like thinking about like dancers, like they're not just trying to hit the movements. They're trying to express some sort of art within them, some sort of emotion. Like I was like, whoa, if I could do it all over again, maybe I would study dance. They gave this a combined total of 33 out of 40. So 33 out of 40. This was a really tough night. Then we went to Jen Affleck, and Jen Affleck dedicated her dance to her mom, who was raised in Ecuador and moved to the U.S. at the age of 26. She said her mom is a warrior. Because of her sacrifice, I have everything that I have right now. And she danced the Viennese Waltz to Rescue by Lauren Daigle. Her partner is, I think his name is Jan? Yeah, Jan Ravnik, who was also the dancer on Taylor Swift's Eras tour and had a really memorable moment for that song on Tortured Poets Department. But Jen's mother joined them for this dance and left the stage fighting back tears. Um, so this was interesting. I thought this was good, but you're starting to see some of the people break apart from some of the other contestants. Like Jen Affleck is really good, but I think Whitney is leaving Jen in the dust a little bit. But I root for Jen so hard, but I think Whitney is on another level. So you're starting to see that. What's interesting is like the kind of the cream is rising to the top in a sense. But Derek said it was graceful and beautiful. They got a combined score of 29 out of 40. But still, yeah, really good. Then we get to Dylan Efron, you guys. It's Dylan Efron. And by the way, why has Zac Efron not come yet? I'm now more curious about the people that have not shown up, like Conan O'Brien for Andy Richter. Why hasn't Conan O'Brien been there to support his pal? But I think the same thing about Zac Efron. Where is he? Because tonight, this was he danced with his little sister Olivia, who's only 5 years old. There's a story there about their dad married, there's a whole story. I was like, this Efron family, I need to know more about. There's some wild stuff because this 5-year-old girl, Olivia, is Dylan's half-sister now, right? And Dylan said, I wasn't expecting to be a big brother, but immediately I was inseparable from her. She means the world to me. And they danced to Rewrite the Stars from The Greatest Showman. And he said this was a nod to his brother, Zach, who always took care of me, adding, I want to be the best role model I can for Olivia. And then Olivia, this little 5-year-old, I was like, he doesn't even probably have a little sister. This is probably like a casting choice just to get sympathy. No, this is very real. But Olivia was like, I just like being with Dylan. He's my best friend. I just feel like I'm free with him. And Dylan was in tears, and it's like, this is definitely the best moment in the show so far for me. And this little girl, these kids, Andy Richter's, and then this, so damn talented. And the dance kicked off with Dylan and Olivia twirling together on stage before he was joined by his partner, Daniela. But this little girl was like being hoisted up by her brother, and they did the like really artistic backbend into a pose. It was wild, you guys. Bruno said Olivia had perfectly pointed toes while saying Dylan is, you're getting better and better every week, Dylan. Carrie Ann said Olivia is incredible and Dylan made her night, calling the performance brilliant. Brilliant. Derek called out Dylan saying, I hate you. You're a great guy. You're in shape. You can dance and you're a great brother. Come on, man. And they gave this the highest score of the night, 36 out of 40. 36 out of 40, folks. Now, remember, you got the audience vote as well, so who knows how this all plays into it? We find out at the end. Now we go to Jordan Childs, and Jordan Childs dedicated this to her father, Timothy. He is my truest heart, she said in rehearsal. She explained that it was her dad who decided to put her in gymnastics as a child to help her with her ADHD, and he helped start her gymnastics career. When telling the story, her dance partner, Ezra Souza, broke down in tears, calling their story healing because I don't have a relationship with my own. This is what I'm talking about. This Dancing with the Stars isn't playing around. You're talking about, holy shit, you don't have a relationship with your own daughter, and this comes out on the Dancing with the Stars show? Whoa. Timothy, her dad, said he was so proud, and I hope after this dance, I hope dads call their daughters and young ladies call their dads. It's very beautiful. She began her Viennese waltz to Daughters by John Mayer. That was a little, I was like, that's not my favorite John Mayer song. Like, better be good to your daughters. Anyways, it was very beautiful. It was very good. They got a combined score of 32 out of 40. Jordan is one of my favorites. Now we get to Pentatonics singer Scott Hoying, and this was dedicated to his husband, Mark. I love that they had this gay story on that. It's just like, it's so important, especially in, I believe, Middle America, where I grew up. This representation is incredibly, incredibly important. And I don't want to trivialize it in any sense. I just thought it was really interesting. It's great. It's just great to see couples like this. So he explained that after dating Mean Guys, when he met Mark, Scott felt like he could exhale. And Mark, the husband, was like, he was so pumped. He was like, I'll treasure this for the rest of my life. And they announced during their rehearsals that they are expecting a baby. and they're going to be dads. And they did a foxtrot to Scott's own song Parallel. And so it started with Scott live serenading his husband, and then Riley joined Scott for the dance. And this got a 30 out of 40. You know, I thought it was good. The judges didn't gush over it like some of the others, but all congratulated him on the baby news. That's what I'm saying. All these people were like pulling out these like big sob real stories that you're like, God, I'd vote for him just because that's a good story. But then the next person has a really good story too. Okay, now we go to Danielle Fishel from Boy Meets World, and this was emotional if you were a fan of Boy Meets World, because they had William Daniels, a.k.a. Mr. Feeney, who is, you know, definitely an older gentleman at this point, but it really shows the strong relationship that Danielle Fishel, as a kid on this show, you know, this, you know, Mr. Feeney or William Daniels had on her, and they're still very close to this day. And she wanted to do this as a sign of respect and a tribute to him and what an amazing person and friend and professional he is. And so that really tugged at the heartstrings. Also, fun fact, William Daniels was the voice of Kit. And if you know that reference to Knight Rider, you need to get your knees checked. But yeah, he was the voice like, "Hello, Michael, I am a smart car." So it was this beautiful thing. And William Daniels was actually behind the desk, kind of like the role he played on Boy Meets World. And so obviously he is not dancing at his age, but he still showed up and acted the shit out of this. You know, it was great to see him as Mr. Feeney again. The judge hit the nail on the head, said, I think that made everyone's nostalgic hearts very happy. And she was like, "You still look like a teenager, by the way," to Danielle. "I don't know how that is possible, but you do." She gave some pointers to Danielle about dancers' hands. And Bruno teased that there should be a Boy Meets World, the musical. And Carrie Ann kind of gave a harsh note. She was like, "I feel like I'm watching the same dance over and over with you. So try to give it a little bit more variety." And people like booed her, and Carrie Ann was like, "That's fine. You can boo me, whatever." Anyways, they got a 29 out of 40. And then we get to Alex Earl. Alex Earl, biggest social media influencer on TikTok and probably all the other apps now that we're talking about it. Sometimes, you know, I'm really enjoying TikTok, as you guys know, but I will say Instagram, I used to love it so much, and I don't love it nearly as much. You know, like, it's weird. I had such a relationship with that app in so many ways, and especially because of the show. And like, I get little flashes of like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to be silly here, but it's just not like it was. And I don't know if that's me or if that's the app or a combination of both. Plus, we just need to kind of stay offline a little bit more. Right? Read. Anyways, it's Alex Earl. She dedicated this to her little sister, Isabel, who is 10 years old. And 2 years after Alex's parents got divorced, when she was 10, she found out her father was expecting another child. Alex said initially she didn't understand it and didn't want it. But then my stepmom handed me Isabel, and I held her for the first time, and she started crying when she said this. "She really changed my perspective on what family means. So I really give Isabel so much credit for blending our family together." And Isabel at practice was like, "Alex is the coolest big sister that I could ever have." And they danced to Sparks by Coldplay. That's the Coldplay song, which is great. And this little girl was in this dance, and it was another little star. It was great. But Alex Earl, the difficulty of this piece, I like that I know dance now. The difficulty of this piece, you guys, was so insane. No, but it was really good. And Bruno was like, "Talent and love runs in the family," talking about Alex and the little girl. And Derek said that the little girl had maturity in her movements. He made a note that there was a lot of negativity and weird energy tonight, but overall the day was about love. And I don't know what that meant. What did that mean? Anyways, Kim, the guest judge, praised Alex's freedom in her dance and called her the surprise of this season. She got a 35 out of 40. The only person that beat her was Dylan Efron. And that was it. And then you're going to see who goes home. And then they made a special announcement. For the first time ever, the show surpassed 50 million votes. This is how we got to do the next presidential election, you guys. We don't have to wait for all these districts. It'll just show up on this phone poll. I'm sure this will be totally chill and a really good idea. We could find it out in the same night, within like an hour. But anyways, it surpassed 50 million votes. After combining judges' scores and fan votes, Julianne and Alfonso began to announce the results. They explained in no particular order. The first couple safe from elimination were, and there was like a gigantic pause you could drive a Mack truck through, and then Alfonso revealed, all of you. We couldn't send anyone home tonight on such a special night. All of the votes and all of the scores from tonight will carry over to next week. Yeah, because you can't send one of these. You can't send Andy Richter home when his beautiful stepdaughter is there, and you have these little kids crying if their person got sent home. You can't do that. But it was a really beautiful episode. I just couldn't believe it affected me as much as it did. I'm getting so soft. I truly am ready for fatherhood. Anyways, that's it, folks. I hope you had a good time, but it's not over yet. We have Josh Goldstein from Love Island USA and Love Island Games, which just finished its most successful season thus far in Love Island Games. So that guarantees that we will see another season. But here he is, the one and only Josh Goldstein. Come back on Thursday for our Salt Lake City recap, you guys. Bye. Folks, this is very exciting. Welcome back to So Bad It's Good. We grew to love him on season 3 of Love Island USA, which you can still binge the entire season on Peacock. He had to leave that season and found a special person with Shannon, but now fast forward to 2025, and he is one of the stars of the most recent season of Love Island Games, which just aired its finale this past week. He is here to give us all the behind-the-scenes juice from the most successful Love Island Games season in history. Islander, fitness influencer, entrepreneur, Josh Goldstein, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you having me, man.
I gotta say, I mean, when you do a show like Love Island USA, do you have any pause to come back and sign up again?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I think the first time I had such an amazing journey, right? Like such a great experience,
You really
and
did.
you think to yourself like, oh, this is a once in a lifetime experience, and then you get the opportunity to do it a second time, right? And in this aspect of it, it was much more competitive, much more less love focused, which I was intrigued about. And it was really really cool. I'm glad I did it. It was a fun experience, and I wouldn't really change it for the world.
So I did not watch the first season of Love Island Games, so I was catching up and I was not aware of just how intense. And it's like the same production value, the same island in Fiji, the same surroundings, which do you have like a little PTSD going into this area where you're like, my God?
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, I was probably the only Islander that had been off the island the longest, right? It had been like 4 years for me. So it's crazy though, when you walk on for the first time, it feels like you were just there this past summer. So it's like you pick up right where you left off. But yeah, it's a surreal feeling. I think, when you walk in there, like the brand new villa, the lights, the, just experience of seeing
Ariana, new host, you got the whole thing.
Oh my God, starstruck. Yeah, it's incredible. And then, you have all of the, great success of season 6 and 7, and then we're the next season up essentially. So you have that in the back of your mind as well. But it was such a cool experience, man. I think, when you go in there, we're all a little bit older. We've all done this before. So it's just a different perspective in there, and it's really cool to see.
Well, that's what I was wondering too, is that you were aware of the massive breakout success of the last 2 Love Island seasons. And now all of a sudden, you have the world watching. Like I was looking at some of the statistics. I'm not sure if you're aware, but it is truly amazing. I think there was over close to, just an insane amount of minutes, even people watching from their phones. Does that add any sort of pressure going, whoa, this is a different ball game than when I was on season 3?
Yeah, I don't think it adds pressure. I think you're just more aware of like what's going on, right? And like the first time I was on Love Island, obviously it was big, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And going on, like I said, we're a little bit older, you're a little bit more mature. You know how production works. You know kind of like how the scenarios play out and what it looks like. So you have that going for you for sure. But yeah, it's still like such a captivating and like surreal experience to be in there and like see what goes on behind the scenes of like all the success that's been having the past few years. And it's really fun.
This lives in perpetuity on Peacock right now. So even if you didn't watch Love Island Games, you can burn through it all right now. But how would you describe to a viewer of Love Island, in your opinion, what is Love Island Games? What is that difference to you?
Yeah, so it's really cool because Love Island Games is such a great spinoff of the normal Love Island season where, your goal is to find love, couple up with the girl, make it to the end, right? And you're kind of like locked in when This season, and you know, the games aspect of it, it's much more competitive. You can either be there for love or be there for the games, and you don't have to be so closed off on a girl because you can really be strategic on how you want to play the game and who you want to couple up with based off of your ability to make it to the end and win the 250 grand, obviously, in Love Island Games Champion. So I think that aspect alone made the conversations more serious rather than like, oh, like what's your favorite color? You know, like it's just it's so different in the aspect of like how you move in there. You have to make alliances, right? So like your guy friends, you're a lot more selective on who you want to like let into your circle. There's a lot more like fights because people are just getting into it on different moves that they make. And I think you have to step on a lot more toes than you would in normal Love Island. So the drama is just that much more.
Are you good with stepping on two toes in your normal life? Is that something that you're because I will say, even, watching in the beginning, it did seem like you and, Andrea had a very similar focus in terms of
Yeah.
strategy and taking this very seriously. Obviously, also both really attractive people, so there's that, but you seem to be on the same wavelength from even day one. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, you know, what was cool about me and Andrea is we both came in here for the game, right? And like we both had that mentality of like, okay, whatever it takes to make it to the end. We're both competitive. We both want to win. And, you know, that love is like the second part of it and not really on the frontal lobe per se. But I think, you know, for me, I came in there just wanting to win. I wanted to do it for my sister. I wanted to compete. I was an athlete my whole life. And like that's what I wanted to do. So that's why the whole Love Island Games aspect of it was really intriguing for me and why I decided to come back.
So
And yeah, it's
honoring your
cool.
sister, who we came to know in season 3, that really was a part of it for you.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest part of it, really, because you know the first time I was on Love Island, I didn't get to finish my journey. Right, I
Yeah.
had to leave. You know, me and Shannon were most likely going to win the show, and so for me, it was a lot bigger than just like, hey, I want to go compete. It was like I want to finish this crazy ride that you know my sister had signed me up for behind my back 4 or 5 years ago, and really do it on my terms and see what happens. Right, and the competitive, obviously, aspect of it. I was an athlete my whole life. So that was intriguing. But yeah, that's really the journey for me of like why I kind of went back.
Were there any, emotional aspects when you were there that you weren't counting on because, honoring your sister, these are big things. These are family things. Did you have those moments in your time on the island this time?
Yeah, I think I knew going back, like, you know, especially my family or my parents, right? Like they were going to be emotional just seeing me back in there because that was the moment that they found out, you know, my sister had passed. So I think knowing all that, I'm a lot more, you know, older now, more mature. I've gone through a lot, like emotionally. So like I definitely have that going for me. But even going back in there, it was crazy feeling to just feel like you were back in there 4 or 5 years ago for the first time and it's all seeming so new. So yeah, it definitely was an emotional experience. I think there was parts of it, you know, that were more emotional than others, especially, you know, when I had to leave. It kind of hit me all at once. But yeah, it was a surreal experience.
Now, I am doing spoilers here, folks. You probably have already watched, but if you didn't, I am going to spoil things. Unfortunately, you did not win, but our winners were Isaiah and Lucinda. Do you think they deserved the Love Island crown?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I was actually stoked. If it
Come
wasn't
on,
me
you
and
can talk
Andrea,
trash about him. Let's come on.
no. You know, it's crazy though, because me and Isaiah have been friends for a while. He's down in South Florida. And you know, me and Shannon and him and Sydney, when they used to date from their season, used to all hang out together a while ago. So I've known Isaiah for a while. I think he's a really great kid and you know, he's been through a lot as well. So I'm glad that if it wasn't me, it was him. I was rooting for him and I'm glad that he pulled out the victory for sure. Even
I
though
think
he
people.
even though he stabbed me in the back, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, how do you you talk about alliances and you talk about friendships, and this is
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, who really can I trust? At any second, your girl can be stolen away.
Yes.
Alliances that you have built can be thrown under the bus to benefit, psychologically, what does
Yeah.
that do to you every day of your 14 days in this villa?
Yeah, for me, I'm such a strong-minded person. Like there's really, especially ever since my sister passed, there's really not a lot that phases me anymore. So like mentally I'm good, but I always stand on my morals and like my character and like what I say I'm gonna do, I always do. Right. So I was like, hey, this is where my loyalty lies. This is how I'm gonna play this game. I'm always gonna move with transparency and make sure that everyone knows who the fuck I am. And if that doesn't work out for me, I can live with that, right? But I'm never going to switch up on something or an alliance or this or that, you know, or move a certain way that I wouldn't on the outside world. Because I honestly feel like the way that I move in there is exactly how I would in normal life. I'm not going to change my persona or my strategy just because the cameras are on. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of
Yeah.
like who I am as a person.
Geez, what a way to. I'm not a solid guy. I'm like I switch up I'm not a solid person at all. This is
Nah.
really truly. Um, did you continue to watch the show after you had left?
No, I didn't. I think a lot of us, because it's so fresh here, haven't really seen much of anything because when you live it and then when you see how it's edited or aired, it's a lot different. So I think it ruins the experience, to be honest, because there's a lot of stuff that is said or done that doesn't really get aired that would make more sense in what you guys see, but all you see is a little snippet of it, and you're like, "What? He's a hothead," or like whatever. You know what I mean? Because like people think I'm a hothead, but really it didn't happen like that. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm not like that. So it is what it is.
Um, to take people through your journey, Andrea and you coupled up on day one, right? And then immediately was stolen. She was stolen by Charlie, the bombshell from last season of Love Island.
Yeah,
Then you recoupled on day two before she was stolen again by Toby. And that
yeah.
was on day four. And then you recoupled for a final time on day eight before being eliminated in the semifinals on day 14. That's a big process. At this point, are you like, you're just going to get stolen every chance you can get?
When I tell you, Ryan, I was exhausted, like I was exhausted. It was like every single day there was something. I feel like out of anyone, I probably had the toughest journey in there to make it to the end, between duels, between people stealing Andrea, between just the alliances, the turmoil, the fights, like things like that. So it was a crazy emotional journey because when you're in there, normal Love Island, obviously you're filming long nights, you're not sleeping much, whatever. But then you add the games aspect of it where you have to perform physically, right? And your girl might get stolen at any point if you don't perform physically. So it's like adding all that on top of it, your stress level is just absolutely out of this world. And it's a lot to process sometimes. But like I said, I'm mentally tough and like I knew what I was doing going after Andrea. I was like, hey, I know she's gonna be a hot commodity. I know she's good at the games. I know she's beautiful. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. I'm like, I'm gonna go after what I want. I'm not gonna play this safe. And if it bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass. But like this is the way I want to do my journey.
Well, so I mean, to that point, Andrea, you team up on day one, and that's just because what was it that drew you of like, we got to partner up? Was it because you thought she would be a hot commodity? What was it? What did she say to you that was like, this works?
Yeah, I think for us instantly, before we even really had our first conversation, there was just great chemistry. Like there was just an aura around, the group when we were hanging out of like we were kind of just gravitating towards each other. So we just wanted to kind of couple up and get to know each other even more. Obviously there was an initial physical attraction, right? But then, getting to know her more, her sports background, just like how she is in the gym, I was like, damn, she's gonna be a good competitor. She was here for the games. We were both kind of like really on the same page from our first conversation. So I was like, yeah, this could work and this could be a great couple.
What was the most challenging physicality, like the physical test for you in your time on this side? What was the most intense game for you?
I think the most intense game and also the thing that put a target on my back was that first duel with Charlie. That actually went on for a long, long time that they didn't air, but it was probably the most physical aspect of the show I had to do the entire season. And it was day two. So people saw my strength and they're like, damn, I don't want to duel against Josh. We got to get him the fuck out of this game. Rather than a lot of other people didn't have to show their cards either at all or until late in the game where, people didn't see them as a threat. So I think for me, that was probably the start of my downfall when I just absolutely demolished Charlie in that duel.
You really support Charlie, man.
Yeah,
Hit a
it was
tough
tough.
Love Island road. But in terms of strategy, because I was thinking you do come off like a confident person, you come off like somebody that knows what they want. Did you ever reconsider a tactic of maybe I act insecure, maybe I act needy, maybe I do one of these things that throw people off to think that maybe I'm not a threat in which the way I feel you were perceived?
No, yeah, I think like I said before, things get aired and things don't get aired that actually happened. So I think that people assumed I was a hothead or maybe insecure on certain things, but like I said, they didn't air the entire conversations. I'm a very confident person. I'm a very humble guy. Anyone that knows me, and I'm a very nice guy for the most part. So the fact that the little tidbits that were aired made it seem different. Obviously, it's production, and it's a TV show at the end of the day. I get it, but yeah, I am very competitive. So like that aspect of me comes out like with the duels or the challenges. You see a whole different side of me where like people are like, damn, he's locked in. That's just like how I've always been with sports. That's how I am in business and everything else. How you do one thing is how you do everything, in my opinion. So I like to just always be locked in,
Are you
and
doing life
sometimes that
coaching
comes
by
off.
any sense?
No,
I would hire
I
you.
do
I
actually.
need.
I do actually. Yeah, I do. So I do like fitness coaching, but it's a lot more lifestyle. It's more like mental, physical, everything like that. And I think that most people just they need that push, right? They need that confidence. They need someone to say, "Hey, you can do this. This is how we attack it. Let's fucking go." So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Um, Andrea, I think, so many people maybe were hoping for or wanted to know. Obviously, this is the obvious question is like, are you considering giving it a chance on the outside world? I think I've read some things already, but what is your statement on that?
Yeah, I think me and Andre came into the experience, like I said, for the game, right? And we didn't really want to pursue a love life, after this. But we
But
did come in here.
can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
What were the reasons behind that? Why not pursue? You're both attractive. You both have a similar mindset. You said she crushes it in the gym. Like, isn't
Yeah.
this what we're looking for in our partners?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying before we met each other, like
Oh, before we okay.
that was our mindset of like, okay, we're gonna go in here. We're not gonna get distracted by love this time. We're gonna, take care of business. And we both were like wanting to be on our own. She just got out of a serious relationship. I got out of a relationship not too long ago. So that was our mindset going in. When we met each other, we were like, fuck, we actually have a lot in common. We like each other. We're starting to like get to know each other more. So it became more complicated. But I think from day one, we were just really good at communicating of like what we want and what we're looking for. And so there's no like hard feelings either way. But yeah, I mean, I think that we both grew to start to like each other in there. It's a very easy environment to like really
Yeah.
like someone and get to know someone on a deeper level. So that definitely progressed. What you saw was exactly kind of like what it was. And we were both like shocked, like, damn, I'm trying to fight these feelings, but I actually do kind of care for this person. And I think it made the experience so much better, like doing the journey with her and someone that you can connect with, both with the games aspect, but obviously emotionally and physically, I think, helped. But, there's definitely an aspect of this where as soon as the cameras are off, it's just a little bit different, right? And I think the switch up was very, very crazy and very quick. But I think there's no hard
Well, what do
feelings
you mean
on,
the
on
switch
either
up?
way.
The switch up with how she acted towards you, or just the switch up of the real world?
Yeah, the switch up with how she acted towards me immediately after stopping filming. You know what I mean? It was just like very like she didn't even know who I was anymore. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
and
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and it's and it's fine and it's cool. But like at the end of the day, like how I talk and how I act, like I said, on camera and off camera is exactly the same. I don't fake anything. So if I say something to you, I mean it, right? And I think that, both of us have that understanding of like we don't want to do anything serious, but it can be casual. It's like we both live in Miami. It's like, hey, I'm with this group of friends. Hey, let's come here. Let's go to the gym or like something like that. So I'm not saying that it could never happen, but I think for right now, we're just like good friends. And, like I said, I'm grateful to have her as a part of that journey. And, we'll see what happens.
When's the last time you've been in contact with her?
Well, we're all here in LA right now, just hanging out. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
with
So you
her.
were like, you're
Yeah.
actually okay. I thought for some reason you were like still in Florida, and I was like,
No.
okay.
Yeah, so we all flew to LA right after Fiji, and most of us stayed here for about a week. So, we've been here for a few days. We've been kind of just doing little appearances and all hanging out together. Like we all went to Disneyland the other day together, and we were out the last few days. So yeah, it's all good. Everyone's like really good friends, but that's just kind of like where it is right now.
In terms of the rest of the cast, who were you really drawn to friendship wise? I mean, obviously Isaiah, but who are the people that you will still keep in contact with after the show?
Yeah, what's the craziest part is that people think like me and Tyreek are like enemies and like we hate each other.
Yeah,
We're actually really good friends. If not, like
you
we can
swear to God, you're really good friends.
I swear, like we connected off camera and like our downtime and lunch and dinners, like more than anyone else. But there was just already this storyline of like, oh, we're because we weren't working together, we were on different sides, so it wasn't fake by any means. But I think some of it was definitely exasperated a little bit on what it was. But yeah, obviously Isaiah is my friend. He's been my friend for a while. I've known Johnny for a while on the outside, but Chris, I was really close with. And then obviously he kind of fucked my game by leaving a little early. And then same thing
Yeah.
with Kendall. I was actually pleasantly surprised of how me and him got along. So Kendall's a really good friend as well.
Yeah, I mean, did you watch Kindle's season of Love Island? Or I mean, you probably don't get.
So I did. I watched like a little bit of it, and I think Kendall gets a bad rep of like being that like girls guy and like the tea monster, and like
Yeah.
he's so much drama and gossip, and I hate that stuff. But when I met Kendall, I was like, well, he's not like that at all. So I think there's only so much you can know from watching someone. But yeah, me and Kendall are really close, and
Yeah,
Casey,
no. What's that?
and Casey too. I really like Casey.
I
Yeah.
always, I mean, Kindle, like his season blew up so much and it was so interesting. I always like to, or I'm always fascinated with how these shows change people, or not change people in a bad way, but just this many eyes and opinions on you has to be. I mean, you've probably heard things about yourself that are so wildly untrue, like what
Yeah.
that does to the human psyche. It's like you have to be strong like you are in the gym to deal with the feedback. Or if somebody calls you a hothead, like what does that
Right.
do to your brain?
Yeah, I think, it goes back to being mentally strong, right? And like if you've gone through a lot, you can kind of take a lot. But at the same time, I think most people that get offended by that stuff are just insecure in general. Like, I know who I am, I know what I do and what I stand for. So if someone says something that I know is outside of my character, that's their perception, that's their opinion, that's fine. But that's not who I am, right? And I'm not gonna like go parade someone on the internet of like who they calling me insecure, this or that or whatever, because I know it's just the furthest thing from the truth. So I just kind of let it happen. And I think personally, the more you're just you, they can't really edit you in a bad way. And like people will understand who you are, where your heart lies, and like the person that you really are.
Craziest fan interaction you had? I mean, you're at Disneyland. I mean, I've got to imagine, this was one of the biggest shows on television at this point. What is the craziest interaction you've had?
Yeah, when we were at Disneyland, so we flew back from Fiji on Monday. We went to Disneyland on Tuesday. So it was literally right after the finale. And it was me, Andrea, Isaiah, Lucinda, Kendall, Casey, and I think that was it. And it was just, we got bombarded like the entire day. We were there for like 8, 9 hours. Just everyone wants pictures. Some people coming up just crying. They're
Yeah.
like, couldn't even imagine that we were there. And, I remember that experience from 4 years ago. And, even after that, you still get stopped at restaurants or out and about just from being on the show. But this was like a whole nother animal. And I think it put it into perspective for some of us that hadn't been on TV in a little bit. We're like, damn, like this is real again, and people are watching.
From this point on in your actual life, I don't know when you go back to Florida and stuff, but what does your life look like on the outside? And how do you take this experience and make it beneficial for you? Like, what is coming up for you?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So I will be going back to Miami in a few days. I have no plans on traveling after that. So I'm going to chill, just kind of get settled back in. I actually moved out of my apartment right before I went to Fiji. So all my stuff's in storage. I have to move into this new house with some business friends. So we'll get that whole experience
Are we doing
going.
a
But
hype
yeah,
house? Are we doing a business hype house? What are
no,
we doing?
no, just a business house. No content house. No, no LA stuff over here. I can tell you that much. We're grown men at this point. But yeah, just focusing on my career, focusing on business. Like I said, I have a great online fitness company for women that I care deeply about, and started it because of my sister. So our clients are just amazing, and I want to continue to grow that. Consulting agency, I want to start to do public speaking and really motivate people on a deeper level, and just have a greater impact. I think one of the biggest reasons for me going back on TV was just to have that greater impact, and the purpose that I feel like I want to share on a daily basis. So my sister started it. I want to finish it, and I really want to just help as many people as I can in a positive way.
Besides your sister, who inspired you growing up, or who inspires you now? Like public figures that are like that inspires me. This is somebody that I lock in on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, work ethic and like just where I want to go in life, I learned from my parents, especially my dad. He has started companies. He worked 3 different jobs at one time. He was always running around working 16, 17, 18-hour days. So I think I just learned hard work at a young age. He made me always work for my money. Like I always had to work for his companies or do something in order to get paid. So I think it showed me the value of money. It showed me the value of like really just the purpose of life, right? And how you should be as a person. But I met an individual not too long ago, actually this summer. His name is Ryan Zofe, and he's down in South Florida, and he's actually a public speaker. He's friends with Tony Robbins and all them. And, he has such an amazing outlook on life, and he really changes people's perception of like who they think they are or why they have limiting beliefs about certain things. And he's remarkable in what he does. And he really changed my mindset into like inspired me to want to do public speaking as well. He has a crazy, crazy story. If anyone's listening, look up Ryan Zofe. Just his life is unbelievable. But yeah, someone like that has definitely been an impact in my life as of late, I would say this year, and really inspired me to want to take what I'm doing and say, hey, we're just scratching the surface. We can impact so many more people, and we can really share, our beliefs to the world, and really see what we can do.
And use your platform for good.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really all I want to do. And that's why I started, coaching women, and wanting to just impact people and have them feel confident and healthy, and things like that. So I think that, we all gain this platform, right? And it's really what you do with it that kind of defines who you are. I think some people just like want to just get back on the next show, next show, next show. They don't really do anything with their following. But for me, I feel like I've cultivated a family and a community of people that really, really resonate with who I am or what we're doing. And I think for me, it's great. Like we have 20 plus employees at this point that work for me and my company that want to be a part of what we're doing. And it's just really fun to like wake up every day and build something that's yours, and have so many people on the same page that, I feel blessed every day I wake up and get to do what I do every day.
Yeah, gratitude. That's how you have to start every day. To
Absolutely.
go back to the shows, Shannon left with you on your season of Love Island. I know you're asked
Yeah.
about her all the time. Where do you guys stand? Because unfortunately, it didn't work out. And, there's a lot of busybodies on the internet. They're always like, oh, are they? Aren't they? I was reading something
Yeah.
like, oh, the metadata shows that they were hanging out here or there. And I'm like, wow, people are so
People.
invested. Where do you stand with Shannon today?
Yeah, people have too much time on their hands for sure.
Hey,
That's
don't
first
just
and
say my
foremost.
name.
But
Just say, Ryan, you have too much time on your hands. How dare you?
no, 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 not you, not you. But yeah, me and Shannon are cool. We haven't really spoken in a few years. We broke up back in 2023, and the fact that people were shocked to see me on TV because they thought we were still dating is
Yeah.
crazy, because she got a new boyfriend pretty recently right after we broke up, and I believe they're still together. But yeah, we don't speak, but we're not on bad terms. Like, if she ever called me and needed something, I'd pick up, and I think vice versa. So, like I said before, I think I appreciate her for what she did for me and my family through that time. And, I think that goes a long way. It didn't work out for us for various reasons, but I
But
have
you can
no
still
ill.
have beautiful moments within like a period of time and think positively
Correct.
about it.
Yeah, I think people are in your life for, like they say, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think
Yeah.
hers was a reason, and it was to help me through that. And that's good. I wish her nothing but the best. I hope she's doing well. I think she is. So I don't really know too much about what she's up to, or what's going on. But, her mom actually did text me right when we got off the show and was like, we were voting for you. You
Oh,
crushed
that's
we
awesome.
you crushed it. I appreciate that. So yeah. She's, their family's great, and I have nothing bad to say.
Okay, two last questions. When you are on a Love Island Games, Love Island's kind of a different animal because it really is focused around love in this closed off environment.
Yeah.
Um, was there ever a time that you were concerned for yourself where you're like, I might be getting some feelings that might interfere with my gameplay for Andrea? Did you ever have a moment where you had to kind of pull the leash on yourself a little bit?
No, I wouldn't say love at all. No.
No, we can go lust. We can go lust. I mean, like,
Yeah.
was there ever
Yeah.
like, I'm not thinking gameplay as much as I should?
Yeah, I think the entire time I was thinking gameplay. It never switched off for me. Like, that's just kind of like how I was.
Yeah.
But in the conversations that you have, with especially Andrea, I think, we just connected on so many more things, whether it was family, whether it was health and wellness, whether it was even down to our favorite foods and our favorite colors. It's like, it was kind of like all the same. So I think that we started to really connect and like understand that we do have a lot in common. We're physically attracted to each other. And, it does kind of, like I said, that environment that you're in is cultivating towards like, oh my God, I might like this person. But we were both very reserved in the sense of like, we know what we're coming here for. We've been through a lot in our past relationships, and it's
Yeah.
really early. It's really early for both of us to like kind of say, hey, are we open to doing this on the outside or not? And, I think we were both mature about it. I think coming back on this time, I'm a lot more mature than I was in the first time. So I think that we both had that understanding of like, hey, let's see where this goes. Let's have a good experience. We're both also really good at the games, and that's why we were coupled up, but also we connected, which is really what you want in this environment. It makes it so much better to be able to share that with someone that you actually, want to continue to
Yeah.
get to know.
I love that I'm way older than you, and I'm like, God, I want to see somebody lose their mind in love and not expect it, and then I want
I
to see them be
know.
together for the rest of their lives, which is just not realistic.
Right.
Finally, day 14, you are eliminated. Can you take us through, because you really, it really bleeds through, is that you are a competitor.
Yeah.
When competitors lose, they're usually not happy about it. Can you take us through what your mind is feeling in that moment and what happened directly after?
Yeah, I think I thought about if we were to leave, how I would feel, right? And when we would leave and what the emotions would feel like. And I think because of the way that it happens, I was in such shock, in such just like so many emotions going through my head that whatever I said was exactly how I felt in that moment and kind of that ending for us. It was definitely really frustrating as a competitor to be in the semifinal and one win away from just making the finale, which is what we wanted because we really thought we could beat every couple there, to be ganged up on and just have really no shot at pursuing that for us just so everyone else can lose in the finale anyways or not make it. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was like, for what, guys, you know? But no, going back to the emotion, I think it just brought up so much of, like I said before, why I was there in the first place. And, you know, my sister and the journey. And I felt at that moment also that like, I let Andrea down, right? Because we were going through a lot together, and I know she really wanted this as well. So, you know, just a lot of emotions that, you know, you guys probably saw come out when I was talking and when Ariana was asking me those questions. But yeah, just really frustrated, I think, at the time, very disappointed that we weren't going to be there in the finale. And again, I felt like I let my partner down because you're doing this journey together. And I think that there's a lot of aspects of it that, you know, that come about while you're continuing this. But, you know, all in all, being able to like sit back and digest it, I wouldn't have changed the journey for the world. I wouldn't have changed our strategy. I think that we held our own. I think I never switched up on nobody, and I did exactly what I said I was going to do. So I can live with that at the end of the day. And,
Yeah, this
you
isn't
know,
gonna haunt you, like, when you go to bed at night for the next 20 years.
no, it just haunted me for like 48 hours. And then I was like, okay, what's meant to be will be. And like everything happens for a reason. And I'm never going to look at a white ball ever again. So,
And then we got to Disneyland, so we wound up at Disneyland
exactly.
anyways.
Yeah.
Would you like to commit to next season of Love Island USA while you're on the air with me right now? Would you like to say yes to this experience?
to games or,
No,
or
no, we're talking full Love Island. Full, no games, just heart games.
I think whenever I make an opportunity or decide to do something, it has to make sense for me. So I'm not going to say yes or no, but if it makes sense for me, listen, I love everyone that works at Love Island. I've had two amazing experiences, and I don't think other people can say the same. So I'm always open to going back and being a part of this because I think it's such a great environment, great show. And, you know, everyone that works there is really class. So I would say if given the opportunity, yes, maybe I would. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's great. Now, Josh, you pumped me up for the weekend. Josh Goldstein, I'm going to put his information. Go support him. I can't wait to see what this guy does in the future. Good luck back in Miami. Tell Andrea to not be so cold. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your time in Los Angeles, dude. Thanks for all your time today.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much.